Welcome back, SethBling here. Today Mojang released a new snapshot, 14W19A, and it's only got a couple new features, but in my opinion there's some pretty cool ones. Slime blocks have some new functionality, world border has been updated, and also Spectator Mode has been updated. So first of all, slime blocks, they will now push you sideways. In the previous snapshot they would kind of toss players and entities up into the air. Now they will push entities and players sideways, so you can see I used ice to create a low friction surface so that it would push me with high velocity and I wouldn't slow down immediately. So you can also do things like use one to push you up into the air and then one to push you sideways, and you get a nice little arc. Whee! You can see I traveled quite some distance. This is a really easy way to make a TNT cannon. I'll dispense some TNT and I just fire it off. I don't need a charge shot anymore. I can just bounce it around with some slime blocks, and yeah, it's just much easier than having to worry about the charges and stuff breaking your cannon and whatever. Obviously, you can only shoot it so far. You can shoot it a bit farther if you use TNT charges. Just repair it real quick. Of course, it works for other entities. Here, let's try some arrows. I'll fire some arrows into this block. Seems to work best if they're on the edge. So here we go. They look a little bit glitchy in midair, but there's the arrows. Works for, here's some items. Oop. Did they go? I think they went. Yeah, they look glitchy. They look glitchy. It's not not all the code's there to render it correctly, but yeah. So yeah, you can do a lot of cool stuff. Here's a creeper. You can use your imagination. Any entity will get pushed around both vertically and sideways by slime blocks. So cool. Here's one application. You can actually get going pretty quickly with these things. So I've got new Minecracker logged in and sitting here. He's on a rail, goes way off in the distance. I'm going to use slime blocks to push myself around, and we'll have a little race. Spoiler warning, I'm going to win. Yeah, it's I'm traveling about 65 blocks diagonally, and it takes about 7 seconds for that to happen. So that's almost 10 blocks a second. In the diagonal direction here. You can see new Minecracker took a little bit longer in his minecart, so it is a bit quicker, and it's so there's definitely a lot of potential for the horizontal pushing to be very useful, because you can get around quicker than you could before. Okay, so that's all I'm going to say about the slime blocks pushing sideways, but I'm sure other people and myself will be playing around with that stuff and come up with some cool uses. So world borders are the next thing I want to talk about. First of all, I'm going to set a world border center to basically right here. Now, you can use world border set 50 to set a world border to 50 diameter of 50 blocks. So that's what we've got here. Now, this is a feature from the previous snapshot. World border set 1010 is going to set the world border to a diameter of 10 meters over the course of 10 seconds. And before I do this, I actually forgot to reset some of the values. So time and distance. So I'm going to reset these so they don't show up. Okay, so first of all, here we are with just the world border moving in. It's moving 40 meters in, well, it's shrinking by 40 meters in 10 seconds, and there we go. It's all done, so I'll reset it to 50. Now, there's some, as you saw, there's some new warning commands. So world border warning time 2. What this does is it sets the warning time to 2. Obviously. So now when the world border is shrinking, once it's 2 seconds away from hitting me, my screen is going to start to turn deep red, and it'll warn me that I should, start moving away from the world border. So this is really useful if you're like underground in a cave and don't see the world border coming, but you can be warned that, oh, maybe I should move. Similarly, you can set a warning distance. So here I've set it to 5 blocks. And now when I get within 5 blocks of the border, you can see my screen starts to turn red. It gets redder the closer I get, until it's a very dark red that looks very ominous. So yeah, the warning stuff, and that also works if the world border is on the move, although it's going to be conflated with the 2-second warning as well. So it's a little bit hard to tell which warning I'm seeing right now, actually. Anyway, so I'm going to reset that back up to 50. You can also set some things about the damage. So you can set the amount, world border damage amount 0.1. What this means is 0.1 damage per meter outside of the border. And so if you're 10 meters outside the border, this amount would deal 1 damage to you. I think it's per second. So if you set world border damage amount 1 and you're 15 meters outside the border, you're going to take 15 damage a second, which is obviously going to kill you if you're that far out. But so it's very configurable, and you can set it to very small values if you want to allow people to roam pretty far outside the border. Although currently, if you're outside the border, you can't move at all. So I don't know if that's going to get fixed. I hope it does, so that you can get inside the border if you happen to, you know, get knocked out. Then there's also a damage buffer, which means the number of blocks outside the border you can be before taking damage. So so those are just useful configurability tools for map makers, or if you want to run a competition or whatever you're doing with world borders. All right, I'm going to set the world border back up to 10,000 or something, just so it's out of the way. The final feature I want to talk about is Spectator Mode got an update. So you can fly around, there's no GUI, whatever, just like Spectator Mode normally. If you press one of the number keys, though, you'll notice a new GUI comes up. It says press a key to select a command, and again to use it. So if I press 1, it'll select teleport to player. If I press 1 again, it'll use that command. Now I get a list of all players that are on the server. So I have New Mindcracker and SethBling. So I select New Mindcracker, press 1 again, and it'll teleport me right to New Mindcracker. So this is a new way to basically spectate, really useful for finding where people are. Here you can also do it for teams. So if I bring up the menu and press 2, it says teleport to team member. I set up one team called Guys, and New Mindcracker is the only player on the team, so he's the only person in the list, but I can teleport to him again. But yeah, you get the idea. So basically it's just a new UI for teleporting to players. I think the UI looks really neat, so I'm really happy that they have included this. I kind of wonder if it'll lead to other UIs for map makers at some point. The capability to make a UI like this would be really cool. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But that's really all there is to the new Snapshot. It's the slime blocks pushing sideways, the world border thing, and Spectator Mode. And there were some bug fixes and some updates to the texture models and stuff like that. But that's all I have for this video. Thanks for watching.